I got the call at 2 a.m. My phone buzzed on the nightstand and I grabbed it half asleep, squinting at the screen. It was Marcus. I almost didn't answer.
Oh no, not
We had
now.
fought earlier that day, something stupid about him canceling our plans again, and I was still annoyed. But something in my gut told me to pick up. Ethan, his voice
Hey,
was low,
what
rough,
happened?
different.
Inside.
I
Ambush,
sat
we
up
gotta go.
immediately.
Car's here,
Marcus,
let's
what's
move.
wrong? I'm outside Ricky's bar on 5th. Can you come? I didn't ask questions, I just grabbed my keys. When I pulled up, I saw him leaning against the brick wall outside the bar, one hand pressed to his face. His white
can I
shirt
borrow
had
a
blood
pen?
on it. A
Yeah,
guy
sure.
nearby was
Here you
being
go.
held back by
Thanks,
two
man.
of his friends, still yelling something in Marcus's
Dude, that was
direction.
hilarious.
I
I
jumped
know,
out
right?
of
My
the
side
car
still
and
hurt.
walked straight to him.
We have to do that again.
What the
Definitely.
hell happened? I said, grabbing his chin gently, tilting his face toward the streetlight. His lip was split. There was a bruise already forming under his left eye. He looked at me, just looked at me, and something in his expression made my chest tighten. Let's just go, he said quietly. I didn't push him. I put my hand on his back and walked him to the car. The drive home was silent. Marcus sat in the passenger seat, head leaned back, eyes closed. I kept glancing at him at every red light. He was still pressing his sleeve to his lip. His jaw was tight. I could tell he was trying to hold something together inside himself. You don't have to tell me tonight, I said finally. He opened his eyes and looked out the window. Some guy said something. I reacted. It was stupid. What did he say? A long pause. It doesn't matter.
I need to tell you
It
something
clearly
I've
did,
been
but I
afraid
let
to
it go.
say.
When we
I
got
hope
to
you
my
can forgive
apartment,
me.
I sat him down on the couch and went to get the first aid kit. I came back with it, plus a cold pack and a glass of water. He looked almost
This is the
embarrassed,
best.
like he hadn't
Yeah,
expected
it really
me to
is.
take care of him
Here,
like this.
you've got a little something.
You didn't
Oh,
have
thanks.
to come, he said. You called me at 2 a.m. with blood on your face, I said, sitting down next to him. Of course I came. I opened the kit and took out the antiseptic wipe. I leaned in close to clean the cut on his lip, and for a second, neither of us moved. He was watching me with those dark eyes of his, and I was close enough to feel the warmth coming off his skin. My hand was steady, but my heartbeat wasn't. This might sting, I said. I know, he said, but
Oh
he
no,
didn't
not
flinch.
now.
Let me tell you about Marcus before I tell you what happened next. We met in college, sophomore year. He sat next to me in a literature class
Hey,
neither
what
of us
happened?
wanted to take.
Inside.
He
Ambush, we
borrowed
gotta
my
go.
pen on the
Car's
first
here,
day
let's
and
move.
never gave it back. By the end of the semester, he was the person I called when anything good or bad happened. By junior year, we were inseparable. Marcus was the kind of person who made you feel like you were the most interesting person in the
Hey,
room.
can I borrow
He
a pen?
listened, really
Yeah,
listened
sure.
when you
Here you go.
talked. He
Thanks,
remembered
man.
small things, what kind of coffee you liked,
Dude, that was
which songs
hilarious.
made you
I know, right?
emotional,
My side
what you
still
were
hurt.
afraid of.
We have to do that again.
He was tall
Definitely.
with dark brown skin and close-cut hair and a smile that came slow but meant everything when it arrived. He was funny in a quiet way, serious when it mattered, and he was the most loyal person I had ever met in my life. For 5 years, he was my best friend. And for almost 3 of those 5 years, I had been trying very hard not to think about the fact that I was in love with him. I never said it out loud, not even to myself, not really. I buried it under the word friendship and told myself that what I felt was just closeness, just comfort, just the natural result of spending so much time with one person. I dated other people. I smiled when Marcus talked about the guys he was seeing. I was fine. I was not fine, but I was good at pretending. He slept on my couch that night. I gave him a pillow and a blanket and
I need
turned
to tell
off
you
the
something
lights,
I've
and I
been
lay
afraid
in
to
my
say.
bed staring at the ceiling,
you can
listening
forgive
to
me.
the quiet sounds of the apartment. At some point, I heard him shift on the couch, then silence again. I woke up early.
This is the best.
Sunlight was coming
Yeah,
through
it
the
really
curtains.
is.
I
Here,
walked out
you've
to
got
the
a little
living room
something.
and found
Oh,
him
thanks.
already awake, sitting up with the blanket pulled around his waist, scrolling on his phone. His face looked worse in the daylight. The bruise under his eye had darkened to purple. He looked up when I walked in. Morning, he said. Morning, I went to the kitchen and started making coffee. How's your face? Feels like someone punched it. Because someone did. He was quiet for a moment, then, from the couch, the guy said something about the way I was looking at
Oh
someone.
no, not now.
I paused with the coffee scoop in my hand. I turned around slowly. Marcus was looking at the floor. There was a guy at the bar. I don't even know him,
Hey,
but I
what
was
happened?
watching him across
Inside.
the room,
Ambush,
and
we gotta go.
apparently his friend
Car's here,
noticed
let's
and
move.
said some things, and he stopped, swallowed. I should have just walked away. I set the coffee scoop down and leaned against the counter, looking at him carefully. Marcus, I said slowly, were you interested in that guy?
Hey, can I borrow a
The
pen?
silence that
Yeah,
followed
sure.
was the
Here you
loudest
go.
thing I had ever
Thanks, man.
heard. He didn't answer right away.
Dude,
He
that was
looked up at me,
hilarious.
and there was
I know, right?
something
My
in his
side still
eyes
hurt.
I hadn't seen before.
We have to do that again.
Or maybe I
Definitely.
had seen it and hadn't known what I was looking at. Vulnerability, fear, something open and raw. Maybe, he said quietly. I don't know, I've been trying to figure some things out. I nodded, carefully, like the moment was fragile and I didn't want to break it. Okay, I said. Okay, he repeated like he expected more. Yeah, I turned back to the coffee maker. Okay, you want eggs? He stared at me for a second. Then I heard him exhale, long and slow, like he'd been holding his breath for months. Yeah, he said, I want eggs. After that morning, something between us quietly changed. Not in a bad way, not in an obvious way. It was more like a frequency had shifted, something just slightly different in the air whenever we were together. He was the same Marcus, same humor, same presence, but now there was something underneath it that I was more aware of, or maybe I was just more aware of myself. We started spending more time together somehow, which I hadn't thought was even possible, but it was. He would come
This is the
over
best.
on weeknights just
Yeah,
to sit
it really
on the
is.
couch and watch
Here,
whatever I
you've
was
got a little
watching.
something.
He
Oh,
texted
thanks.
more. When we were out walking, he walked closer, close enough that our arms occasionally brushed. I noticed everything, I noticed too much. One evening in late October, we were on my rooftop. I lived in an old building with a rooftop access that was technically not allowed, but nobody enforced. We went up there sometimes with drinks and sat on the old folding chairs I kept up there. The city spread out below us, all lights and noise.
What the?
He was talking about his job,
Oh, no, not
something
now.
about a project that was stressing him out. I was half listening and half watching his face. The way his expression moved when he talked about something he cared about.
what happened?
The way he ran
Inside.
his hand
Ambush,
over his
we gotta
head
go.
when he was
Car's
frustrated.
here, let's move.
Ethan, he said suddenly. Himoy, you're not listening. I am, I said. The deadline is Friday and your manager keeps moving the goalposts. He raised an eyebrow. Lucky guess. It's always
can
the
I borrow a
deadline
pen?
and the manager.
Yeah, sure.
He
Here you go.
laughed. It was
Thanks,
a real
man.
laugh, the kind that reached his eyes.
Dude, that was
He leaned
hilarious.
back in his chair
I know,
and
right?
looked
My
up
side
at the
still
sky,
hurt.
and I looked at
We
his
have to do that
profile
again.
against
Definitely.
the dark blue of the evening and felt something move through me like a current. I looked away before he could catch me. His name was Daniel. Marcus mentioned him casually one afternoon, the way you mention something you're trying to make sound unimportant. A guy from his gym. They had gotten coffee. Nothing serious, Marcus said. He's cool, Marcus said, easy to talk to. That's good, I said. And I meant it. I genuinely wanted Marcus to be happy. But there was something underneath that wanting, a small, uncomfortable pull that I chose not to examine too closely. 3 weeks later, Daniel was coming up in conversation regularly. A month later, Marcus showed me a photo on his phone. Daniel was smiling in it, handsome in a straightforward way, arm around Marcus's shoulder.
I
They
need to
looked
tell you
comfortable
something I've
together.
been afraid to say.
Easy.
I
He
hope you
seems
can
great,
forgive me.
I said, and handed the phone back. Marcus looked at me for a second longer than necessary. You think so? Yeah, I said.
This is
"Really?"
the best.
What I
Yeah,
didn't say
it really
was
is.
that I had driven
Here,
home
you've
that
got a little
evening
something.
and sat in my
Oh,
parked
thanks.
car for 10 minutes before going inside. What I didn't say was that I had finally, after years of careful avoidance, admitted something to myself in that dark car. I was in love with Marcus. I had been in love with Marcus for a very long time, and he was falling for someone else. I pulled back, not dramatically, not in a way that would be obvious, just slightly. I answered his texts a little slower. I was a little busier when he suggested plans. I told myself
Oh,
I
no,
just
not
needed
now.
space to sort out my own feelings, to put them back in the box where they belonged so I could be a proper friend again. Marcus noticed. Of course he noticed. This was Marcus.
What happened? Inside.
Are you good?
Ambush, we gotta
he
go.
asked one
Car's
evening.
here, let's move.
We were at a coffee shop and he was looking at me across the table with that focused attention of his. Yeah, I said, just tired, work's been a lot. He nodded slowly, he didn't push, but he kept looking at me with those eyes and I
Hey,
had to
can I borrow a
concentrate
pen?
on my coffee
Yeah,
cup.
sure. Here you go.
A few days later,
man.
he texted, you tell me if something was wrong,
Dude,
right?
that was hilarious.
I stared
know,
at
right?
it
My
for a
side
long
still hurt.
time. I typed,
have to do
of
that again.
course, and
Definitely.
sent it before I could say anything more true. The thing about loving your best friend is that you can't fully hide it and you can't fully show it. You exist in this strange, in-between space where every interaction is simultaneously too much and not enough. Every conversation has a second layer to it that only you can hear. I was exhausted from it. In December, there was a party. A mutual friend's birthday, big apartment, lots of people, music too loud for real conversation. Marcus and I arrived separately because he was coming from Daniel's place. That detail landed in my chest like a small stone dropping into still water. I was talking to people, holding my drink, doing fine, and then Marcus walked in. He was wearing a dark green jacket I hadn't seen before. He looked good, he always looked good, that wasn't new. He scanned the room when he entered, and when his eyes found me, he smiled. That slow smile that started at one corner and took its time. He made his way over.
This is the best.
It was easy.
Yeah, it
the
really
way it
is.
always was.
Here, you've
For
got a
while,
little something.
It felt like nothing
thanks.
had changed, like we were just two friends at a party, like I wasn't carrying anything heavy. And then Daniel arrived. He came in and found Marcus immediately, and the way Marcus's face changed when he saw him, the slight brightening, the unconscious shift toward him, it was a small thing, but I saw it and I felt it somewhere deep. I excused myself to get another drink. I stood at the kitchen counter for a moment alone, and I made myself breathe. I made myself be rational. Marcus was allowed to have feelings for someone. Marcus deserved good things. This was not about me. I went back out, I talked to people,
Hey,
I laughed
what
at the
happened?
right moments, I
Inside.
was fine.
Ambush, we gotta go.
But at some
Car's
point
here, let's
late in
move.
the evening, I found myself on the balcony alone, and Marcus came out and stood next to me. "You've been weird tonight," he said quietly. "I'm fine," I said. "You keep saying that." I looked out at the street below.
Hey,
People
can I borrow a
moving,
pen?
cars passing,
Yeah, sure.
the ordinary
Here you go.
world just
Thanks, man.
continuing. "Marcus," I said, "I'm
Dude,
genuinely
that was
happy for
hilarious.
you with
I
Daniel.
know, right? My
I want
side
you
still
to know
hurt.
that."
We have to
He
do
was
that again.
quiet for a
Definitely.
moment. That's a strange thing to say out of nowhere. I just wanted to say it. Another pause. "Ethan, look at me." I turned. He was watching me with an expression I couldn't read, something careful and searching. "What's actually going on?" he said. "Nothing," I said. He held my gaze for a long moment, and then he said very quietly, "Are you sure?" And something in the way he said it, like he already knew the answer, like he was giving me a door to walk through, made something crack open in my chest. "I should go," I said. "I'm tired. Tell Jamie happy birthday for me." I left before he could say anything else. He called the next morning. I let it ring, then I felt guilty and called back. "I need to say something to you," he said before I could speak. "Can we meet?" "Marcus."
I need to tell you something I've
Please.
been afraid to say.
We met at the small
I hope you
park
can
near my
forgive me.
apartment, the one with the old wooden benches by the water. It was cold. We both had our hands in our pockets, sitting side by side on the bench.
This is the
Neither
best.
of us saying
Yeah,
anything
it really
for the
is.
first minute.
Here, you've got a
When
little
he said,
something.
Daniel and
thanks.
I ended things. I turned to look at him. "What, when?" "Last night, after the party." He was looking at the water. "It wasn't working. He's a good person, but..." He paused. "But I think I was trying to feel something I wasn't actually feeling, and that's not fair to him." I didn't say anything. "Ethan," he turned to look at me, and his expression was open in a way that made my heart beat faster. "I've been trying to figure something out for a long time, about myself, about
no,
what I
not
want."
now.
He took a breath. "And I think part of why it's been so hard to figure out is because the answer is something I was scared to look at." I waited. "I think,"
Hey,
he
what
said
happened?
carefully,
Inside.
like each word
Ambush, we
mattered,
gotta go.
"that I have been
Car's
for
here,
a
let's
very
move."
long time in some way that I didn't let myself understand. I think I've been..." He stopped, started again. "Every time I think about what actually makes me feel like everything is right, it's you, Ethan. It's always been you." The park was very
Hey,
quiet,
can I
a
borrow a
bird
pen?
somewhere, the
Yeah,
sound
sure.
of water.
Here you go.
"Marcus,"
Thanks, man.
I said. And my voice came out lower than I intended.
Dude, that was hilarious. I
"I'm
know,
not
right? My
saying
side
this
still
to make
hurt.
things
We
complicated,"
have to do that again.
he said quickly.
Definitely.
"I know this is a lot. I know I might be reading everything wrong. I couldn't keep not saying it, especially when I could see you pulling away and I didn't know why, and it was..." He stopped. It was killing me. I looked at him, at his face, which I knew better than almost any face in the world. At those dark eyes that were watching me with something so careful and hopeful and afraid. "Marcus," I said again, "I left the party last night because I couldn't watch you with Daniel for one more minute." He went very still. "I've been pulling away," I said, "because I've been trying to put something away that doesn't want to be put away. And I've been doing that for," I exhaled, "for a really long time." He stared at me. How long? He asked quietly. Longer than I'd like to admit. The silence between us was different
to
now.
tell you something
It
I've
wasn't
been afraid
heavy.
to say.
It was something else,
I hope you
something
can
bright
forgive me.
and a little terrifying, the way standing at the edge of something high and open feels. He reached over and put his hand over mine.
This
His
is the
hand was
best.
warm. I
Yeah,
looked
it
down
really
at it,
is.
then back up at
Here,
him.
you've got a little something.
I'm scared, he said
thanks.
honestly. Me too, I said. This changes everything. I know. Or, he said slowly, and the corner of his mouth moved, it changes nothing, except that now we're both honest about it. I looked at him for a long moment, and then, without planning it, I laughed. Just a small laugh, half relief and half something I didn't have a word for. He laughed too. We sat there on that cold bench, laughing for no reason and every reason.
Oh no, not now.
We didn't rush anything. That felt important, not to collapse all that honesty into something immediate, but to let it settle, to let ourselves adjust to the
Hey,
new shape
what
of
happened?
things.
Inside.
We were still
Ambush,
us,
we gotta
still
go.
the same two
Car's
people
here,
who
let's
had been
move.
friends for 5 years. That didn't disappear. It became the foundation for something that was being carefully, slowly built. We talked more, differently than before, more openly, with less careful management of what we let show. He told
Hey,
me
can I
more
borrow
about
a pen?
figuring out his
Yeah,
identity,
sure.
the years
Here
of
you go.
confusion and
Thanks, man.
quiet, the way he had learned to recognize what he actually
Dude,
felt
that was
versus what he
hilarious.
thought he
I know,
should
right?
feel.
My side still
I
hurt.
told him how long
We
I
have
had
to
been
do that
carrying
again.
something
Definitely.
I didn't know how to say. There was a night in January when we were at my apartment, sitting on the floor with takeout containers between us, talking about nothing in particular. He reached over at some point and pushed my hair out of my face, just a small gesture, gentle and casual, and then left his hand near my cheek for a moment. I looked at him. He looked at me. Hi, he said softly. Hi, I said. And that was all. It was enough. The first time he actually held my hand properly, intentionally, walking down a street in the cold, I felt it all the way through me. He just reached over and took my hand like it was natural, like it was something we had always done, and kept walking. I looked at him. He was looking straight ahead, but he was smiling. That slow, real smile. I tightened my hand around his. He tightened back. I have a photo on my phone from last week.
I
We're
need
at
to
that
tell you
rooftop,
something
my
I've been
rooftop,
afraid
the one
to
we were
say.
never supposed to have
I
access
hope
to.
you can forgive
The
me.
sun is going down behind him, all orange and pink, and he's turned toward me mid-laugh about something I had just said. I don't even remember what I said. I just remember reaching for my phone
This is the
because I wanted
best.
to keep that exact
Yeah, it
moment.
really
His
is.
eyes, his smile,
Here,
the
you've
light
got a little
behind
something.
him, the way the
Oh,
whole
thanks.
evening felt. He caught me taking it. Really, he said. You looked good, I said. He shook his head, still smiling. He reached over and took my hand, and we sat there until the sky went dark. 5 years of friendship, 3 years of feelings I didn't say. One bar fight, one cold park bench where we finally told the truth. And now this, whatever this is, whatever we're building, and it is the best thing I have ever been part of.
Oh no, not now.
Some things take a long time to become what they were always meant to be, and some things are worth every minute.